then next thing we were at the resort. So
next picture, please.
that's okay.
Yeah, so here's our resort. Yeah, it's beautiful. It was just beautiful. Yeah, it was just amazing, really. You can go on.
Yeah, it's just a few resort
Yeah,
pictures.
this is Stephanie from Saskatoon there. Yeah, it was just gorgeous. Just
Yeah.
tourism is their main industry in Cuba. Yeah. And so we had did a meeting.
Yeah, this was our devotional spot. Basically, we set up the tables, and then we would gather there and have our team debriefs and our meetings there as well. And it was kind of interesting because right beside us, if you like behind that on the, I don't know what side, that side, there was a boardwalk to go to the beach. So anyone going to the beach was walking past us, hearing us singing or hearing us talking. So it was kind of interesting. Some people would stop and they would listen. And we kind of were a little concerned because even though Cuba's a relatively safe place, Christianity, they worry that it's organized and they're going to go against the government, right? So some of the time when they were stopping, it was officials stopping and listening to us, but it was all good. So, and this was us all waiting for our lunch in the coffee spot and playing games, and actually on those other 3 tables, like we're basically filling this whole area up because part of our mission was having pastors come there with us, and I think this is actually a later on picture, but yeah, so, and that's the coffee shop.
Yeah, that's my main area right there. Everywhere you go in the resorts, you tip, and they rely on those tips, Canadian or U.S. dollars,
Yeah.
tips. And
They'll take Canadian, but they prefer U.S. So
yeah, but you tip the lady who's serving you. You tip the waiters or the people in there, the bus drivers, you tip. The doctors make less money than the people working in the resorts. Yeah, it's amazing, really. And the government will tell you what you're doing for a profession. They will tell you, oh, well, your grades are high, you're doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was quite shocked about that. Okay, next.
and this was our breakfast spot. We ate by the Big Bluefish. So, and the servers got to know us. The first time we got there, because we're tourists coming, we actually had different wristbands than the local Cubans. So this area that we were eating in actually would have been more for the local Cubans. And when we first got there the first night, they actually kicked us out of here because we wanted us to go to this fancier restaurant, not really fancy, but served. But they got to know us, and throughout the week, they were happy to have us come and sit down and be a part of it. They actually really enjoyed us, didn't they?
I hope so, because we tipped.
Not only that.
I know. So there's no bathtubs in Cuba at all. On the left-hand side, beside the toilet, they're really keen on bidets, and the toilet paper is rationed. So yeah.
And also it's recycled newspaper. You can actually read some of it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So.
Yeah.
And pay attention to how nice this looks, because
Compared to
what's
on.
coming up.
Yeah.
So, and so this was us on one of our bus trips, and Ruth Griffith was our organizer, and she spent quite a long time trying to organize the buses that we would take, and she had to go to the black market basically, because there's such a fuel shortage there right now that getting fuel to drive the buses was really hard. Yeah. And so I'm not sure what it meant by going on the black market, but it was like she said, that was the biggest hurdle to the whole event, was arranging the buses. And that's partly why we stayed at the resort so much, because we couldn't have a bus ride every day.
So this is our first trip to Bauta, and it was, here's the rest area right here. That's Samira. She's from Synergy. So you can go on to the next picture, please. And they all gathered together here, and this is called Wounded Sheep. So I thought this place would be like helping the people like in a clinical setting, but it was more like in their own homes. So these people would come and they would visit, and some of them were mentally ill and very vulnerable and imprisoned. Like there's no manner there, you know. And these people would also bring food and supplies to people in the prisons. You don't want to be a prisoner in Cuba because you get nothing if you don't have support. So,
This whole, like the whole organization is done through volunteers and through donations. Like it's not a government organization. They're doing it. The people of Cuba are running these and helping their people, right? So we got to go and actually see some of their homes. They split us up into a couple of groups, and I think, or 3 or 4 groups. I'm not sure anyway, and sent us off in different directions, and I'll let you talk about.
Yeah, this man, he has some sort of intestinal or liver issues. Lori was, we didn't go into his home, but if you go on to the next picture. Okay, so this here, this cardboard, that's a bed. Somebody is lying on that bed. So this is the people in wounded, that the wounded sheep would help. And if you go on to the next picture. Okay, see that bucket? That's a toilet. That's a toilet. And I'm just like, okay, so no plumbing, obviously. So yeah, and so this is what the wounded sheep would help these people in certain ways. Okay, next.
That's your playground.
Yeah, that's their playground, and it almost looks like a prison, and it looks like, oh my goodness, it's so hot there. How on earth could any kid like that? So, and then next one.
They after going around to Wounded Sheep, we came together and had pizza. And so they basically wanted pizza for everybody. We paid for them in advance, but we had a pizza and a pop for everybody. And yeah, basically we eat 2 slices of the pizza, and they collected what was left and distributed it amongst the people of Wounded Sheep. So
that's their loaded pizza right there. There's no Western pizza there, so they don't know what mushrooms are. I don't think they even understand what it is, or even pepperoni, but they make do with what they have, and they seem really happy.
Yeah.
And we were happy too to have food, so.
We were hungry by then. It was very hot there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and this next one is the mission that we went to. Dr. Loami is the one who organizes this breakfast ministry. And she set up all these fancy dishes for us, and they're pretty sure the red Solo cups that you see there were the ones from last time that they washed, because they were like they keep everything and keep it as good as they can. And anyway, out of this kitchen, she serves a breakfast ministry. And Ruth told me that this kitchen was recently upgraded, so that's the upgraded kitchen. And everything, like the countertops look clean, everything looks clean, but it's definitely getting run down. And in the containers there's actually sugarcane juice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So recently, they've been having a shortage of food there. People are hungry. So there's been more and more people. So we've been asked if we could possibly help them on a monthly, just $75 for 3 months or whatever it was. And so Clearview did help out with that, because we'd hate to see people who are going hungry. So
Dr. Loami wasn't sure how long she could keep doing the breakfast ministry, but she does serve, I think, about 30 people a day, right? Isn't that what it was?
Yeah.
So, and she also, like Dr. Loami was in healthcare, so she did like suturing, and I think she's not a doctor exactly, but she does suturing, and so she does help them with some of their medical needs. But
yeah, Dr. Loami came to visit Clearview, and she was saying that in Cuba, if you need surgery, you will be given a list, if you're the patient, of what exactly you need for the surgery. You need Band-Aids, you need Tylenol, you need this, this, and this. If you are given a hospital gown, that hospital gown will be for the whole visit. It doesn't matter what's on it, it's for the whole visit, and that's it. So the family has to pitch in here.
yeah. So, and this was just some of the people that they had brought for us to meet. So, and that's the outside of her house basically, because she lives there, and yeah, and she's actually right next to a sugarcane factory. So, and the one thing that they did tell us on the bus ride, and that was actually the bus driver that told us, he said that the sugar used to be one of their major exports. As things are breaking down, as the infrastructure is getting worse, they didn't think that there was a value in selling sugar. They didn't feel like it was making them enough money. So the government decided, we're not going to do it anymore. But the people needed some of the waste or whatever to basically feed their cattle is what they've been using it for. And all the cattle are owned by the government. So Deb's going to tell you more about the cows at the end. So, but it was just interesting to me that the government could make a decision like that and just change the industry. People would be out of jobs. And these are jobs that would have been there for a long time. Like sugar was their major export, right?
So there's one of the Cubans that we took back to the resort. We wanted to treat some of the pastors, and they're just really happy people, really grateful people for what they have. They're appreciative, and and
he basically sang. They sang songs the whole way, and that's like a 3-hour drive. Yep. That was great. So
it was air conditioned.
Yeah,
it was.
It was, and they got to come and stay with us at the resort. And again, there's
resort, yes.
Entertainment, and I think we have some more resorty pictures. But and
so here's some kids from Saskatoon. So this is some of our downtime here. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? It's just a beautiful country, really. It's just gorgeous. The pictures don't really give it even justice, right? Yeah.
And this was Veradero. So as far as resorts go, this was the highest end, or toward the higher end resort area. So, and you could really tell that they kept that area really clean. And I mean, they kept it for tourists. They really want to attract tourism. So that was us playing games. I think that's our interpreters on the other side. There's a better picture of her yet. So,
that's the ice cream guy, I think. I think it's Lori and the ice cream guy. Yeah, a lot of it was just buffet style, which was good. So just continue. Yeah, just us eating again.
And this was actually a special meal. Like, as you can see, the Cubans are up here, and this was the restaurant, like I was saying, where you get served. And so we all ate a meal up here. But then afterwards, all the Cubans went down and got in line at the buffet and did the buffet as well. And they ate a lot of food because there was just so much that they're not used to. A lot of them had never, ever been at a resort, and some had never even been in a hotel. And so this was the pastors giving their testimony, and I'm trying to remember his name. I'm really bad.
I don't remember the names either. They're on Facebook. They befriended us all.
I know Yorita because I do a lot of translating slideshows for Ruth, and this is Yorita, and so she's a pastor's wife. That's her husband in the white shorts on the other side there, and they run a church that Ruth and Lloyd have done a lot of work with them, and it was really good to actually get to talk to them. So, and the lady there in the black shirt and the shorts, that was our Cuba Ruth.
Yes.
She was our translator, and she was basically volunteering her time to be there with us for the week. So, and then they got to relax there and enjoy the resort.
The lady in the white, that's Hannah. She's from Winnipeg, and she was a big help too with the translation. She knew Spanish really well.
And her sewing and embroidery comes in handy the next day.
Yeah.
So this was us packing up. The pastors that had their time at the resort. They had their time to talk to us about their different missionary areas, and we were just getting ready to leave there. So we figured this is the last time we're going to be all together to take a picture. So. And then again, we're loading all those totes up onto the bus and hoping they fit. And so we can take them along and drop them off at the different places. So, sorry.
I was just flabbergasted. There's no codes here at all. Like, I would just, whoa. Is it safe to be here?
Nice little electrical shower.
Yeah.
This was in Alcazar.
Yeah, and there was no, like, people just, like, I was just flabbergasted. I was just, Okay, so there's no garbage pickup in this small village. Okay, so this is not a tourist industry. This is where the locals live, very poor. if there's no fuel, there's no manpower, and no money to pick up. So yeah, I was just flabbergasted. I thought sometimes we were bad, but
Yeah. According to Ruth, it's not always like that, but that's what it was like when we were there. Just like when they have fuel and energy to pack, or I guess manpower to pack it up, then they do. And I asked, like, could anyone go look through that garbage if they needed something, or if there was something because they do a lot of recycling, right? And I guess anyone can go dig through there. This was one of their manufactured tractors put together. My husband really liked this tractor, so. And then I thought this one was interesting. You can see that house leading that way and this house leading this way, and these are all occupied, right? And,
scary, hey? Isn't it scary? Yeah.
Quite different.
It's scary. Yes.
Quite different than Canada. So, and then when we got to the church where we were doing the sewing, they actually greeted us in English, and they must have practiced because they all were saying "welcome" or "welcome Canada" or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah. So, and it's a lot of the people that Ruth and Lloyd knew before. And on this picture here, so they had a choice when they were doing the sewing to either have the lights on, the fans going, because it was so hot in there, or they could have the sewing machines going with no lights and no fans. But it got so hot that they decided to bring in this treadle machine that they had there. Because while we were in Cuba, there was no power. We couldn't really tell that because everywhere we went, there was generators. So, but their generator couldn't keep up with a sewing machine and the fans and the lights on. So, and basically the sewing lesson that we were giving was for women's sanitary napkins, because they basically don't have those supplies. So this gives the ladies a way to go to work and do other things and have a solution. So we're still getting pictures of them sewing them now and showing what they learned. So yeah, that's Peyton there.
Yeah, that's Peyton from Saskatoon there. I was just so hot. I had to go. I went for a walk. I just couldn't take it.
Yeah,
I just couldn't take it. I felt so bad, and it was just, I don't know, I don't do well with the heat. But anyways, yeah, so again, they're so happy. And so, yeah, then we had, if you go on to the next picture there. So then we paid for a pig roast. And so they ate soup while we had the pig roast, and they wanted to make sure that we were first. So we're going back to our seats, and here they're eating soup. So yeah,
it was kind of shocking because we were lined up. We had assumed in our minds that it was for everybody. Yeah. But we were lined up, and they fed us. And like I said, like Deb said, when we came back, we came into the church, and here they were bringing soup in from the other side. So, but
don't look at the eyes.
Oh, on the page.
Oh, and they treated us to a cake. It's a big deal for them, and for us too. It was like we were quite surprised. And I think they had some sort of children's ministry in here too, did they not?
They did have, while the sewing ministry was going on, they did have balloons and coloring, and I think Amira was making bracelets for the kids. And at one point, one of the pastors came up and said, would it be okay if I take 2 balloons? Because then I can take them back to my church and they're going to be a hit. And I'm thinking, 2 balloons? Like,
dollar store. Yeah.
They just, one, even if they have the money, they haven't got a place to buy it. 2, they don't have the money, so, yeah. And this is one of the churches we stopped when we were dropping off the last of the totes. And as you can see, there's a car in the church, because right now it's attached to their home, and it's also their garage. But then when they have big events, they move the car out and they have extra seating, so it works really well. If you go out to the left there, they have a bathroom, baño, is that the right word? Anyway, and yeah, it's a hole in the ground, but it works, so it's very relieving. So yeah, and so that was the totes that none of the pastors got to open the totes while we were all gathered together, because they didn't want people comparing what was in each one, because they basically sorted out all the donations. Like they had medical supplies like Tylenol and different things, and there was some canned meats and stuff that was in there, and toothbrushes and I don't know, stuff for kids. Yeah. So
I don't know what it is about clowns, but Cuba, the people in Cuba, they love clowns. We're getting to the very end now.
Did you want to talk about
No.
Ruth? Or
Yes, we decided as a group that we would get together and give her some money because she translated for us, and she was so excited. She's expecting in that picture. She is still expecting. She's due in October, and she got to pay for a wash machine, and she was really super excited about the wash machine. Yeah, and here they are. This is after we came back. They're showing us pictures of what they had made. Yeah. This is sanitary products for women. I'll be quiet. Okay, I got my phone going.
Ruth Griffith got a lot of messages. I know you were just being cheerful, that's all. A lot of messages from people as they opened the bins. They were shocked to find out what was in there. So, and each bin could only weigh 50 pounds. I think it was.
They're pretty precise on that, making sure everything was like 50 pounds. So
we packed and repacked those totes. So
yeah, I get to talk about cows now. Okay, so on the bus, I was noticing that there was these cows leashed up to these trees or whatever, and I'm just like,
in the ditches.
Yeah, they were in the ditches. Well, like we could see them on our bus trip, right? Yeah. So somebody was explaining to me the government owns these cows, and the farmer gets very, very low wages for these cows, and the people in Cuba, the government will take these cows back, process them, and then bring them to the resorts. So they cannot eat their own meat. So when we happened to have beef on the resorts, we tried to make sure that they would get a little, the pastors, the Cuban pastors, that we could try to give them some beef. So, yeah. So and I got my passage here.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and they asked what would happen if the cow happened to wander out into the highway and someone hit the cow, what would happen? And the guy's like, well, you'd be standing here for a long time for officials, and then in the end, the farmer would have to pay for the cow. So even if it wasn't even his fault that the cow got loose, right? So they're responsible.
Yeah. So I think that wraps it up here, and the next mission will be in next year, and they're doing focusing on a children's ministry. So, and I was going to tell you too, Hannah, the one from Manitoba, she's still in contact, of course, with some people, and she thought she would send a little bit of yeast and a little bit of baking powder, a couple balls of wool from Canada to Cuba to this one lady so she can sell her products on the streets. $63 just for that, and it's way different sending things like that to.
And no real guarantee that it'll get there.
So I got a text for Luke 6, verse 38. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And I've also Matthew 25, verse 40. The King, in capital letters, God, will reply, truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Short-term missions. If you ever want to be reignited for a relationship with God, if you ever want to see your view of God change, short-term missions is it. I'm very passionate actually about it because, as you all know, I've been to Romania many times, and it changed my view of God for sure, 100% of the time. And I'm going back. Me and Kayla are actually going back this fall, so I'm very excited about this. The other side of missions is our international workers. Laura is going to come up and share with us about what she does in Japan. Laura is full-time there. I'm not using her last name for a reason, but she is an international worker there, and it's a journey. It is a definite journey for people that do it full-time, and I look forward to hearing what Laura has to share with us.
Hi, good morning. Ooh, I am an English teacher in Japan, so I want to teach you, not English, I think most of you speak English, yes. Let's learn a little Japanese. So, maybe some of you watch anime and know Japanese words already, but the first one is a casual hello word. So repeat after me. Yahoo! Yahoo! Nice. That's just hello. It might be super casual, but I love that word. The formal one is konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. Nice. Well done. Okay. I've calmed down a little now that I got to teach. So, I am Laura, daughter to Karen and Blair. I can say Cornelson, it's okay. I think just the text. I'm actually, I work with the Canadian Alliance, Christian Missionary and Alliance, with a Japanese team in Japan. But my visa isn't religious. I'm actually at an English school that gives me my visa. So I have a working visa, I guess a green card, as you would say. So I don't think my company actually knows that I'm connected to the missions organization I'm with. So that's why I just keep my name as Laura in any kind of text. So that's why. Japan is not a creative or limited access country. It's just because I teach and work there that I just keep my name Laura. So I've been in Japan for 10 years now. I'm working at the same company. I would be called a tent maker. Does anyone know what that is, a tent maker for a missionary? There are missionaries or international workers that go fully funded like a pastor that work in churches, specifically in ministry. I have a job. I have a job that pays me weak Japanese yen money. That's what I get. But I work there full time and I'm connected to a team. So just like Paul in the Bible, he would go around making tents with his a couple of his friends. I'm teaching in Japan to be there. So one of the pluses is I get to meet people that don't walk into a church. They come to me for lessons. So I teach a lot of business people English, anywhere from retired elderly people to actually English teachers that are teaching kids or adults. I teach CEOs of beverage companies. I have a sex worker that I teach, and I see her on a regular basis. So these are people I have one-on-one lessons with and get to be a light in my job. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. I should talk a little bit about Japan. We can go to the next slide. This is Japan. So I know I've had some people here think, maybe farmers are thinking, okay, well, how big are things in reference to? So here's some numbers. Japan is 60% of the size of Saskatchewan. Okay, all of them. I think there's 2,000 islands. Not only if 100 or so are inhabited in Japan. So out of the size, only 20% is able to be farmed on or lived on because there's a lot of mountains, volcanoes, etc. And there's 123 million people. So if we took, how do we do that? If you took 12% of Saskatchewan and you put 123 million people in that size, that's Japan. The number is shrinking. They actually have an aging population. Now, over 30% of the people are over 65. So, it's changing a lot. They are not having children as much or getting married. And then the last statistic, less than 1% of those 123 million know who Jesus is. So that's a big reason why I'm there. Next one. I live in Tokyo. I don't know if you can see, that's just all endless buildings, houses, skyscrapers. There's 37 million people there. Whew, a few. I'm one. Yay. And yeah, you can drive for 100 clicks and still be in city. I mean, once a month I try to escape to see a horizon. And yeah, it takes a while to get out. It has the busiest pedestrian crossing in the world. It has the busiest train station in the world. It's a busy place. Next slide. You'll see some businesses are stacked. There's a McDonald's that's 4 stories on the top left there. We've got busy train stations, and there's the busy intersection of people, which I avoid like the plague. I don't like going to those busy areas, but some of my schools where I teach, I do have to go to some places like that. Next one. Oh, this might be hard to see, but this is the trains in Tokyo. I'm a train geek. I love riding trains in my free time. Anyway, this is a map of all the trains. There's 158 different train lines with 48 different companies. And I forget how many train stations, but that's just greater Tokyo area to get these millions of people to work in a day. So I'm sure your cars are looking pretty nice right now, maybe going to work. All right, next one. There's a train. So this would be a not so busy day. That would be like afternoon. But next one. I also avoid this time of time. This is rush hour. Sometimes if I have to take that train, I will be breathing and I try to count how many people I'm touching. I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8. It's a lot. I know why, right? But they grow up in this urban place, and it's not fun, but it's normal to them. I actually have an electric assist bicycle. I avoid these trains, and it takes longer, but then I go to work that way. Anyway, all right. I live in stacked. It's not too high. There are higher buildings, but my apartment complex I live in with my roommate, there's 500 other units. So I forget how many people, but that's a good size of Gandersley. That fits in 7 different apartment buildings in my complex. So we are stuffed in. Yeah. Next part. I attended a seminar that it taught me a lot about what worship means. And this is for you guys too. I'm an English teacher in Japan. Yes, I'm cross-cultural, but what I do is an act of worship. So through this course I took, it talks about in the Old Testament how there wasn't Sunday morning worship then. They took their skills of what they had. They didn't sing songs back then either as much. That came later. But there's a verse in the Bible that talks about how when they were building the tabernacle, they gathered together the skills they had, and that was an act of worship. So through this course, I learned too, for you guys too in your jobs, what we do every day, not only can we be a light, but it's also an act of worship to serve God with the skills that we have. So I want my company in Japan, run by Japanese people, to do well. I want it to improve. I want it to be better. So that's part of my worship in Japan, and also being a light as well. The word the Hebrew word for worship that's used, avad, it actually means to work, to serve, to worship. They're all connected. So just wanted to share that. Next one. Matthew 5:16 says, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." And that's something I do. I try to be with my students, to be a light. The other day, I was teaching a political advisor. He talks to prime ministers in Japan and also in other countries. And we got on the topic of religion. And right off the bat, he was saying how all religions are dangerous in his mind. There was something that happened a few years ago where a former prime minister was killed because of a religious sect. But I felt God's prompting, his Holy Spirit saying, "Laura, I need you to speak." So he had me in the lesson share the difference between fundamentalism and religions and what I believe. So even in a professional setting, God's giving me chances to share. Yeah. Another one is a woman, unfortunately, on those busy trains, there are some people who are not kind to women. And she'd been hurt in the past. And through our lessons and as we talked together one-on-one, she was able to share about her traumas and hurts in her life. I was able to validate those hurts. She never felt safe to share that with anyone before. So I'm able to love on her and show Christ's love through that. It's not preaching in a church. It's going out right to where the people are, right? Next one. So I can't take pictures of my work because it's work, but these are from my website. So it's just one-on-one lessons, 15 minutes with one person. And as I told you earlier, all the different fun types of people. I get to ask about Japanese culture all the time because I'm talking directly to, so many IT people, farmers, lawyers, like you name it, so many different kinds of people. And it's fun. And then they get to ask me questions about my culture. They'll ask me about Christmas or Easter, and then I get to share what I truly believe about those. Not just, they do see, we'll go to the next slide. Yeah, Christmas in Japan, believe it or not, KFC, good marketers. It's a thing. You want to have KFC for Christmas. So that's what they know, fried chicken, some special, and we actually have to reserve this months in advance if we want KFC chicken for not New Year's, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So anyway, so that's what they know about Christmas. Maybe they know Santa, but I'm able to share them about who Jesus is and what I believe and be a little light. That's bicycle life. I will save that story for another time, I think. Next one. This is the team I'm with. So there's there's 3 of us family units, and there's a new couple and their 2 kids coming. So they are traditional international workers. They are church planters. But I joined them in the ministry they're doing in Japan. We went bowling. It's American bowling. Have you guys ever tried that with the big balls? I don't know. I broke so many nails. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you. So this is us. Yeah, the couple on the left are coming next time, but they're all fairly new, not 10 years. But they're all studying Japanese really, really hard. I just get to study it a little bit. But what we do in Japan, there are traditional churches. They're actually dying. There's a lot of older people, and there's no younger pastors to replace them. What we found in our previous team, retired people in our team in the past, sometimes Japanese people become believers, and they take it on. They are loyal. They give 1,000%. They burn out. So there's kind of this hard part with a big, I would say for me, a big church like this. It's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of work. So what we're doing, we start with interest groups. Some people like board games. Some people like different kinds of martial arts. But we create small communities. And then from that, introduce who Jesus is. We already have some Bible studies that have started. And we start very basic. We want to create communities and small groups where it can be reproducible. It doesn't turn into a big, a big, huge building that needs rental payments, that needs a pastor. We want something that when Japanese people come to Christ, they can share with their friends and start a new group. So these groups will get together once a month or once every 2 months. But otherwise, we're kind of spread out in smaller groups. So some of the groups I'm involved in is one of these. These are actually all expats, like me. These are non-Japanese living in Japan. Oh, actually, we have a couple Japanese spouses in here. But we've been meeting, and that's one of the things on my heart is that there are non-Japanese people in Japan, believers, who love Jesus, but they don't know how to share in their workplaces. So it's on my heart to hang out with these people. We do a Bible study once a month, and then we do board games once a month where we can invite our friends and learn how to be a light in the companies. Yeah, this is one of our groups all together. There's a little boy, Yui. He was baptized. So that's our big group. One of the people I wanted to share personally, and maybe this will work in your hearts, but I've seen a lot of, new Canadians in Kindersley over the past while, right? I went to a salon, and it was full of people from Vietnam. There's people from Philippines, so it's changed a lot in Kindersley over the last while. This is an example. Minako, my lovely friend, she did a working holiday in Victoria for a year, and she started doing free English lessons, conversation classes at a church, and she got to know who Jesus was. It wasn't in Japan, it was while she was here. So imagine there are so many people, even in Kindersley, in their home countries, they may never hear about Jesus, but here they are here, and they get to hear more of Christ. So for her, her church in Victoria got her connected to our team, and so I get to hang out with her. She's actually, if you can see the little sculpture in the back, that might be a Disney character you may know. There is a Disneyland in Tokyo. I may go once a year, maybe, yes. But Minako has not been baptized yet, but she has a love and a desire to learn more about the Bible. She has some struggles she's learning through. Mental health is not a big thing in Japan. It's hidden. It's private. It's kind of a stigma. But I'm able to walk with her and love on her. And she cannot come to church on Sundays. She works at a blowfish restaurant selling people, not me, want to eat fresh, raw blowfish in Japan, I guess. So she works at a very busy restaurant and cannot come to church on Sundays. So I meet with her whenever she can, sometimes for breakfast, or sometimes she stays at my house. I love her. She's a fun girl. Anyway, you can pray for her if you think of her. Next one. That was a little. I have tons of stories if you ever want to hang out. I come back to Canada once a year for about 6 weeks. And so, I have more stories if you ever want to hear more. But I just wanted to list some ways, if you wish, to partner with me. I am going to start doing a newsletter quarterly and a monthly little prayer request thing, so you could sign up for that. I ask you to pray for me, pray for Japan. I'll have some prayer requests later. And if you wish, I do work in Japan, get Japanese yen, but sometimes I need a little extra help with ministry, which looks like going out for coffee or having lunch with a friend. So that's something, if you're interested, you can. And at the end, if you wish, you can come to Japan for a long term or come for a visit. Some of my teammates that live in Vancouver, their friends or their church people are coming all the time. It's not like Cuba. It's not a poor country, so we don't have needs, but the people's hearts have a need to know more of who Jesus is. So it looks a little different going on a mission trip there, but you are welcome to come. I guess you can have a somewhat speaking Japanese tour guide if you want. All right. So prayer requests for me. Please pray for these networks of communities. Different groups that we have, and that people will be open to hear the gospel. You can pray for me. I do have different hats. So I'm an English teacher, but I'm also on a missions team, and they kind of clash sometimes. So I always need prayer for balance. And actually right now I need some more freelance students, just financially to make things easier over there. You can pray for the Japanese. Less than 1%. There's actually been missions organizations in Japan, many, for a long time, but small group of believers there. And I just think it's the culture. They've been isolated for a while. They are resistant to outsiders. It can be a hard place. We do hear fun parts of Japan, the anime, the manga, I don't know, random food, but the people themselves, they actually take a long time to build trust. So I heard a Japanese pastor told me it takes about 10 years to make a friend in Japan, like a real deep friend where you could actually share. So that's it takes patience to be there. You can pray for Minako. And last one, I didn't get to share yet. One of my expat groups, Charles, he's actually Taiwanese, married to a French Canadian, living in Japan. But he wanted to start a Bible study with us because he wasn't happy with maybe the more stronger beliefs that his wife was believing. So he wanted to start from the Bible from scratch to hear what this faith is that his wife has. So that is it. I think I will stop there. Thanks for letting me share today, you guys.
Thank you, Laura.
He speaks Japanese.
Thank you, Laura, very much. Missions. We're all missionaries, actually, right? If we go to Cuba, if we live in Japan, if we live in Kindersley, we're all missionaries. We're supposed to be sharing the gospel wherever we go. Like Laura said, the work, share missions at your work. This is the point of the church, to make disciples wherever we are. Let's remember this. Father, I thank you. I thank you that today we could hear about people whose hearts are on fire for the Lord, and that they would share their experiences and what they have seen and what they have done, Lord. I pray that as we go forward this week, that we would look back to today and think about this and be set on fire the same way, that the people that the Lord puts in front of us would truly be our mission field, Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the church. Thank you that you died on the cross for the church. And thank you that we can go forward knowing that you go with us. In your name, Lord, amen.